We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. As you can tell, it's been 10 days, maybe 11. I don't know. The virus has still got a hold of me. Looking at my wife in the living room saying, you know what? I can be sitting here on the couch being sick, or I can go in the studio and talk some college football. And she said, go ahead, do it. Do what you love. Go talk college football. I want to appreciate you all coming on in. It's Sunday, August 18th. We are in week 0 of the college football season. And I am excited. You cannot tell it by my voice, but I am very excited. It's been a battle. Let's put it that way. Whatever I came back with Hawaii from, man, it's been tough. So I apologize. I'm going to be doing some coughing and all that stuff. I do apologize. And hopefully by this Saturday, August 24th, I will be we'll be doing a watch party, Florida State, Georgia Tech, and hopefully I sound a whole lot better and you can come join us as we watch the game together and talk about the game during the game, right? Put down your comments in real time. Give me a call during halftime, post game, Should be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Most of the PATC community, well, you guys officially took Florida State. I think it was minus 13. I'll go check that later. And I took the over at 56. Georgia Tech, Florida State over 56. There's some other couple games that are going on in week 0. We're going to go through those games today. We're just going to have fun. I'm going to open up the phone lines. I do sound like death. And this is the best I have sounded for quite a while. I am going to shorten it. No question about it, Anthony. No question about it. Now, people on Twitter and sending me direct messages saying, Greg, are you going to come on live tonight? Nope. Are you going to come on live tonight? Nope. 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 It's been that way almost every single day for quite a while. I do apologize, but this has been, this virus, whatever I have, has laid me out. Now, one of the good things that have happened from this is I have not been able to, sing around the house, and so I've given my wife, the little general, a break. She hasn't had to listen to me sing for a couple weeks. So that's good news. But it's been bad news because having a hard time taking care of my mother. I've had to separate myself from her. So it's been difficult. It's been a difficult challenge. If I had to choose when to get this cold virus, whatever I got, I'm glad I got it now and not a week from today. Because this would have leveled me out for the first couple weeks of the season. But I am on the comeback. It doesn't sound like it. But today has been my best day for a long time. So, anyways, thank you all for coming on in. You know the drill. Put down your comments in the comment section. We're going to open up the phone lines real early because I don't have much of a monologue. We're going into week 0 here. I want you in the comments section. I want you, when you call the show tonight, I want you to tell me how you're feeling about your team. And then give me your bold prediction of the season in regards to your team or for the entire college football landscape. Give me your bold prediction. What do you think is going to happen? Is a certain team out there going to fall flat on their face? Is there a certain team out there that's going to rise above, higher, and farther than anybody believes today on Sunday, August 18th? Let me know. This is your time. Your bold prediction for your team and or for the country at large in college football. I've already given you all my predictions. I've given you my playoffs. I've given you my national champion, Georgia. I've given you my G5 prediction and who's going to make the playoffs. Texas State Bobcats. I've got the Kansas State Wildcats winning the Big 12. I've got the North Carolina State Wolfpack winning the ACC. I've got the Buckeyes winning the Big 10, but I got the Oregon Ducks beating the Buckeyes in the semifinals of the playoffs, going to the national champions, losing to the Georgia Bulldogs. I've got Notre Dame threading the needle. I got the Fighting Irish losing week 1 against Texas A&M, but still making the playoffs. Give me your bold predictions when you put it in the chat or when you give us a call later in the show. Casey Mallory, Greg, Iowa, 11-1, 10-2 in a playoff berth. Go Hawks. Look, even as a Gopher, as a Golden Gopher, I've got to be brutally honest. Iowa's defense is going to be magnificent again this year. It's going to be absolutely magnificent. Is it going to be good enough, though, to carry that offense? Is that offense going to improve under Tim Lester, the offensive coordinator? Brendan Sullivan is probably going to turn out to be the quarterback at some point. Maybe it begins as McNamara quarterback QB1. But man, with Higgins, Castro, the Iowa Hawkeyes, look how many snaps that defense has played. They're old. They're an old defense. They're an old and a great defense. It's not like how I talk about other teams' offensive line where I say, yeah, that offensive line's got a lot of experience, but they're not any good. Like Nebraska's offensive line. I'm not a believer in the Cornhuskers' offensive line. I still think they're going to go 8-4. But Iowa's defense is old, but old and great. And Iowa's schedule lines up. It lines up for an 11-1, 10-2. Now I have them coming in 5th in the Big Ten. But I understand people believe in Iowa can come in 3rd or 2nd, get into the playoffs. No question about it. No question about it. Anthony Carlson, Michigan State, 5-7, but no bowl berth. Well, I think Michigan State, the Spartans, should just sit back and enjoy. Sit back and enjoy the ride. I have seen the reports, Anthony. I have read the reports. I have not been able to talk for the last couple weeks, but I've been able to read. I'm reading the reports coming out of Michigan State. I know the reports coming out of East Lansing. The Aiden Childs hype is real. The excitement is real. People are coming off that practice field going, yeah, that young man can play. So just let it happen. There's nothing to lose this year. Jonathan Smith's first year, just that defense has got to get rebuilt. Rossi's a great defensive coordinator. You're not going to find that out this year. But at some point, Michigan State Spartan fans are going to go, yeah, that Rossi, he can coach. He can coach. It might not look good this year. But anyways, it don't matter. Michigan State fans are going to have a good time. We got some breaking news right before we came on. Now let me see if I can find it. I don't know if I bookmarked it. Well, here it is, right here. Excuse me. Get a load of this. Get a load of this. Malachi Nelson, the transfer, University of Southern California, the Trojan, the transfer Malachi Nelson, 5-star in high school, does not win the quarterback starting job at Boise State. Maddox Madsen beat him out. Maddox Madsen beat out Malachi Nelson. 5'10". 5'10". I'm going to repeat that one more time. 5'10", Maddox Madsen is QB1 at Boise State. Now, if I remember correctly, and maybe I should pop up the statistics here. You know what? I'm going to do that. Maddox Madsen is the guy who played at the end of the last year and did real good, right? I mean, that's the guy, right? For Boise State. This was just breaking news. Wasn't he the guy who played at the end of the year and led them to the Mountain West? Well, last year he played 9 games, completed 61% of his passes, almost 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, a 155.1. 9.0 yards per attempt. 155.1. So he did play good at the end of the season. Maddox Madsen. So, again, Malachi Nelson transfers. And I don't know, I mean, what do you guys think? What have you heard? Did Malachi Nelson get a decent NIL deal to transfer to Boise State? I'm guessing he did. I'm guessing he got some money, right? He got something. There were suitors out there for Malachi Nelson. Maybe he wasn't what they thought at USC, and Lincoln Riley made it clear they're going in a different direction. Miller Moss and who's ever coming up behind Miller Moss. But Malachi Nelson did not go to Boise State to be the backup quarterback. Malachi Nelson went to Boise State believing that he was going to be QB1. But tonight, an announcement was made. Maddox Madsen is the guy at Boise State to begin the year. And this is a season in which Boise State, their fan base, their donor base, they believe they're going to go to the playoffs. They believe they're going to be the representation of the G5, all of G5. Boise State, that great running back, Janetti, Ashton, I think it's Genty. Great running back. So they're supposed to rock and roll here. And they're going with Mr. Maddox Madsen instead of Malachi Nelson. Wow. So that is stunning news. We also have other quarterback battles that probably have been decided or they haven't been announced yet. Or at least they haven't been announced yet. Nebraska. It's probably going to go to Dylan Viola. But Matt Rule has not made that official announcement. And I think I heard that announcement is coming Monday. I might be wrong on that. But it might be coming Monday. So a lot of stuff going on. You know what? I am going to go ahead. Begaman, Mississippi State 9-3. With the win over the rival Ole Miss, Texas, and Tennessee. Holy smokes. That is bold. That is very bold. I believe I picked Mississippi State to finish in 15th out of 16 teams. I'm pretty sure that's where I had them. I'll get back to Mississippi State here in a second. I do want to talk about a little bit of breaking news. I want to give you all. Just as a thank you for showing up tonight. I did not advertise the show. I'm sick. I'm probably horrible to listen to. I I am going to break a little bit of news and tell you one of the non-traditional dates on the calendar that a particular conference or conferences, along with the media partner or media partners, is going to put up and use for future conference games. I talked about it on a live show. It's been a while now, over a week ago, I believe, where I talked about how a conference or conferences are looking at having a Final Four weekend, a flex weekend. They're deep in talks with a particular media partner or media partners. But I also said on that live show, there are also this conference or conferences are in deep talks about using non-traditional college football, non-traditional dates on the calendar, college football, non-traditional college football dates on the calendar, and use them for conference games. I am going to go ahead and tell you one of those days right now, but I'm not going to be able to tell you the conference or conferences. I'm going to show you guys something here. I anticipate this news to be broken sometime during this college football year, okay? Sometime during this college football season. Now, let me pop this up a little bit more. These are games during this season, okay? This is the scheduled TV games for this season. You got Wednesday, October 30th. You got Thursday, October 31st. Friday. Okay. I'm going to show you a day in November, late November, you see November 29th, Black Friday. Each and every year, this particular day on the calendar keeps filling up with more and more games. Now, obviously, the date that I'm going to give you is not Black Friday, because that's already being used. That has become a traditional college football day on the calendar, which I'm about to break to you tonight is a non-traditional college football day on the calendar. But a conference or conferences is in deep talks in using the date. Look at November 29th. Right? Black Friday. You got a MAC conference game. You got two MAC conferences game. Now they've moved Minnesota and Wisconsin. I don't know if that's permanent. We know that Nebraska and Iowa plays every Black Friday. Hopefully Minnesota, Wisconsin is not a permanent Black Friday game. I'm okay with it this year, but I don't think that's going to become permanent. Oklahoma, but the Big Ten will have an earlier second game, right? So now they're going to have two Black Friday games. That's part of doing business. Minnesota, Wisconsin's a CBS game. Nebraska and Iowa's an NBC game. You want these other networks to come on and spend all that money, you gotta give them the value. You gotta give them a Black Friday game. Mississippi State and Ole Miss, 2:30 p.m. Black Friday. Georgia Tech, Georgia, SEC, on ABC, Black Friday. The Big 12, Utah at UCF, Big 12, Fox. You got the Mountain West, Utah State at Colorado State. Oregon State at Boise State. Big 12, Oklahoma State at Colorado. Okay, so that's Black Friday. Now you moved up into Thursday, November 28th. That's a Thanksgiving Day. That's Thanksgiving Day. That is a traditional college football day, right? This year, not a whole lot of action. And then you've got the MAC conference, Tuesday, November 26th. You got those Tuesday games being played during November. MAC action, they call it. MAC action. Let me point to you a different day on the schedule. Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve. You notice there's no game on Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve. Not this year. Okay? Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve. That is one of the non-traditional college football days that a conference or conferences with a media partner or media partners is going to fill up with the conference game. Or at least we can report to you they are in deep talks. Now, that's not the only day on the calendar. A particular conference and or conferences with a media partner or media partners. That's not the only one. That's the only one that we are unveiling tonight. Sunday, August 18th. So, next year or the year after. And I'm thinking it's going to be next year. But next year or the year after, when you're looking through your college football for that week in November, the third week in November, Thanksgiving week, you got your games on Thanksgiving, that big slate of games on Black Friday. Do not be surprised if you're going to have a football game to watch Wednesday night, Thanksgiving Eve, at least one, if not two, college football games coming to you. So buckle up, brace for impact. That's the little bit of nugget that I wanted to give you all for showing up on this Sunday, August 18th. Thanksgiving Eve is one of the busiest bar nights of the year. Arkansas basketball plays Illinois basketball on Thanksgiving. Correct, Cornelius Green. You haven't missed anything, Tracy FSU. You've just missed my bad sick voice once again tonight. Ryan Thomas, Wednesday night before Thanksgiving is perfect for in-state rivalry games. Ryan Thomas is either on something or he's on to something. And I would wager to say that he's on to something. Okay, so, and let's just I'm going to open up the phone lines quick here. You guys can take the ball and run with it. Talk about your team. give me a bold prediction. Week 0, I do want to start out. Let's talk about it. Week 0. Let's get into it. We're not gonna do a Greg the Gold segment tonight, although we could. 60% winning percentage against the spread for 2024. I guarantee it. It's Greg the Gold this year. %, and greater. Okay, so let's take a look at week 0. Now, of course, the big game. The big game. Florida State at Georgia Tech in Dublin, Ireland. We've already made our predictions on this game. PATC community took Florida State and gave Georgia Tech, 13. I got it written down somewhere. 13 and a half points. Let me, let's post it here. 13 points. You all gave Georgia Tech 13 points. 75% of you took Florida State. So PATC community takes Florida State minus 13. Greg the Gold. I stayed away from that minus 13. I stayed away from it. I've got over 56. I think it's going to be a very high scoring game. I've got over 56. I think that is the lock. So you're seeing reports, the fans are arriving. Florida State fans are arriving. Georgia Tech fans, not in the same number, are arriving in Dublin, Ireland already. Today, tonight, this evening, tomorrow morning, whatever it is, Ireland time. (11 a.m. Central Time. 12 o'clock noon time, ESPN. Excuse me. And we'll circle back to that game. A couple other games here. Montana State at New Mexico. Again, here at Peek Around the Corner, we don't do FCS games against FBS. Most of the time we don't. There is some games that we will do, like South Dakota State, North Dakota State, big games. We'll probably touch upon the North Dakota State Colorado game and the Oklahoma State versus South Dakota State game. But we're not going to touch the Montana State, New Mexico. But Bronco Mendenhall is back on the sidelines. He is the new coach for New Mexico Lobos. So that's on FS1. That's about the only. New Mexico is expected to finish at the bottom, near the bottom, not quite the bottom of the Mountain West. They've got a quarterback that they like, but beyond that, New Mexico has a big rebuilding project. But Bronco is back on the sidelines. The other game is SMU versus Nevada. SMU versus Nevada. Now, Nevada is picked basically by most. The consensus out there is Nevada is predicted to come in dead last in the Mountain West. SMU is favored by about 4 touchdowns. Somewhere along that. 4 touchdowns. There is one player on Nevada that you're probably going to recognize, and that is Brock Purdy, who started, I think he was at Florida State, then he went to Nebraska, and now he's at Nevada. And we don't even know if Purdy's going to be quarterback 1. I listened to an interview with the new coach of Nevada, Pat Choate. And he's got like 3 quarterbacks battling for quarterback 1. He says they're all going to play. I don't know. So I think it's going to be a very tough year for Nevada. I know the Gophers play Nevada in a couple weeks, or week 3, I think it is. Week 2 or week 3. So Nevada plays at SMU. They've got a really tough non-conference schedule. So that's another game. SMU, this is the first football game for SMU as an ACC team. Now, it's not a conference game. But you know that SMU wants to get a good first impression, right? First good impression. So it should be... Chubba Purdy. I'm sorry. Chubba Purdy plays for Nevada. It's Chubba, not Brock. Brock is in the NFL, playing tonight against the San Francisco. Sorry, Joe. Sorry, guys. Chubba. Chubba Purdy is one of the Nevada quarterbacks. It doesn't sound like he's QB1, or he's not in the clear, at least. So that's kind of surprising. But again, not touching that. We're not touching that game. So week 0, when it comes to plays against the spread, we've already done it. Georgia Tech, Florida State. We have peek around the corner. Not going to do much more than that. Maybe. I doubt it. I think we'll just stay as is, and then we hit it hard for week 1. A lot of games for week 1. We'll get to that later. So SMU, Preston Scott, the quarterback. A lot of high hopes. If he takes another step forward this year, he threw for almost 3,200 yards last year. Very good quarterback. Hudson in Maryland. Hudson, a very good wide receiver. Maryland, a very good tight end for SMU, who has been injured, but they expect big things. He's supposedly an NFL tight end. Caught 34 passes last year, but he has been nicked up. SMU had a top 15 defense last year. So we'll see. But SMU, I've got them finishing pretty high in the ACC. They've got one of the easier schedules in the ACC. Infamous frontrunner, Delaware to Hawaii. How many miles is that? I drove by Aloha Stadium, the football stadium, for the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. I drove by it twice. Me and the little general. I did not see anything but the lights that go around the stadium. That's all I could see from where we were driving. Busy highway. It's crazy. The football stadium is dropped. It's you know, it's a high trafficked area. Let's just put it that way. It's not out in the country. It's right there, Honolulu, Hawaii, or whatever the stadium sits on. 4,917 miles. Holy smokes. Okay, it's not Aloha Stadium. What is it called then? I know I read the name of it. I still call it Aloha Stadium. What's the name of the Hawaii football stadium? I know there was a big long name to it. They had some right on campus. Yep. What's the Hawaii football the Clarence T.C. Ching Athletics Complex. The Hawaii Rainbow Warriors Football Arena Stadium. Aloha Stadium was condemned. It was Rainbow Warriors home stadium since 1975. On campus, TC Ching Athletics Complex, the host, Mountain West Football. This is a picture of what it looks like. And all I could see from where we were driving was these lights. It's all I could see. And maybe there's not much more to see, actually. Anyways, I don't know why we're talking. Hawaii plays on week 0, so that's why we're talking about it. Yeah, there it is. It's a high school stadium. What will Florida State's excuse for losing? Wow. The elbows are already being thrown. I tell you. Let's get serious here. We're going to open up the phone lines. 763-260-1333. Go ahead, give me a call. Talk college football, week 0. Georgia Tech, man. They're going to score a lot of points this year, and I think they're going to score some more points than Florida State fans are going to be comfortable with. Next Saturday, Haynes King, Jamal Haynes, the great running back. I think they're going to score some points.
Call from
Ryan Thomas.
Ryan Thomas, thanks for calling. The floor is yours. Bold prediction for BYU, bold prediction for college football. You know, if you've got it, lay it out right now, Mr. Thomas. Go ahead, sir.
Well, my heart says 10-2, but my brain says 2-10. So I'm going to go.
Holy smokes!
I have no confidence. Whatsoever. Great receivers, but the running back core is just battered, and I have no confidence whatsoever in the coaching staff. So I will just leave it at that. So it's interesting though, because Wednesday night, you know, you think traditionally on Thursdays families getting together, so kind of in-state rivalry games. You know, when you think about it, the perfect matchups for that would be like a doubleheader to start with the Holy War, and then the Territorial Cup with Arizona and Arizona State following right after that on Wednesday night. That could be great. You could certainly do the Sunflower Showdown that night. There's a whole bunch of different Big 12 rivalry games that could probably work really well for bragging rights the next day on Thanksgiving when you get together with the family to carve the turkey. So that could be an option. I think that, I know before in the past they've done a couple, they'll do a few college games on Thanksgiving, but I think the NFL is really kind of telling them hands off. That's interesting. So I think Wednesday night for that could be a fun thing to see, Greg. They could do a bye the week before to kind of prepare it, and kind of head into a 10 straight day or more than 10 straight, 10 or 11 straight days of just smack talk leading up to that game, and then bragging rights the next day. So I could see where that could sell.
Now somebody in the chat here. They did move the Mississippi State Mississippi game from Thanksgiving to Friday, Black Friday.
Yeah.
The SEC already made that move.
Yeah, that does not surprise me. I think my guess is the NFL they do 2 games right now. Or are they doing 3? I forgot. On Thanksgiving
I don't
now.
know.
I know they do at least 2, because we had to put up with seeing the Lions and Cowboys every Thanksgiving, and God, I wish they would change that. So I could see the NFL wanting to squeeze a few more games in there on Thursday and telling college football to lay off, but who knows? And yeah, the situation with Hawaii football, Greg, is a very sad situation.
Yeah.
I mean, that, Aloha Stadium over in the Punch Bowl, I think I don't know if they've torn it down yet, but that thing was a rust bucket, and it was falling apart and completely unsafe, and the only action that's going on there is a swap meet every Saturday. I think all they did is bring in a bunch of bleachers on that on-campus stadium. They've been trying forever to try to get a new stadium built where Aloha Stadium is, but the state legislature can't get its act together. And, it's kind of a sad situation because, how Hawaii survived before in the past was being allowed to have kind of a couple extra home games and being able to, get gate revenue and to be able to kind of have that money to cover and offset travel expenses, but they don't have that. And, it's kind of really sad because that football program's probably teetering on the verge of being basically shut down, and I think that's sad. And but things, that's just the environment we live in, Greg.
Yeah.
But anyway, get better, my friend. Make sure you rest that voice. Take as much time as you need. We need you to have that voice all ready to go for the watch party next Saturday night when we have FSU and Georgia Tech play.
It's not a night game. It's not a night game. Not here, anyways.
Oh yeah.
It's a noon game East, 11 Central in the morning.
Yeah. Well, you need to have your voice ready for that, Greg, so you can do a watch party for us.
I'm working on it. I don't know. It's been a battle.
Honey and lemon, Greg. Honey and lemon. That's all I'll say is honey and lemon. Get the throat lozenges for that, honey and lemon, and just keep going and, relax that. Take some Advil. Make sure you're resting those vocal cords, Greg.
Yep.
Anyway, take care, my friend.
You got it. Appreciate it. Great call, sir. Thank you so much. Ryan Thomas, unfortunately, his bold prediction for his beloved BYU is 2-10. And, I get questions all the time about my Minnesota Golden Gophers. Last year, the Vegas had Gophers at 7.5 wins, and I predicted Minnesota to win 5 games. I went way below the Vegas numbers, and I nailed it. I nailed the Gophers last season. This year, The Gophers win total had started at 4.5. Now it's like at 5 or 5.5. And I've got the Gophers winning 8 games. I'm way over the win total this year. People think I'm crazy. I am crazy. But maybe, just maybe, Greg the Gold knows something on the Gophers that a lot of people don't know. I will say this, and it has to do with the quarterback. I think the quarterback is going to be very, very, very good. The hype is big on the quarterback, Max Brosman. But there is some worry in Golden Gopher land. I cannot confirm, I cannot deny, I can't do anything with it because I don't know. There is some worry about Darius Taylor, the great running back. Is he injured? He definitely grabbed a part of his back leg in the last scrimmage. But maybe he's okay, maybe he's not. PJ Fleck won't say anything. We're not going to know anything. There's no more public practices for the public. Last year, when we did a watch party for the Gophers, they always open up Thursday night national television. Gophers versus Nebraska, 90 minutes before kickoff. You have to have the injury report in, and Cody Lindenberg, our only linebacker, our best linebacker, and the only linebacker who had any FBS college experience at all, suddenly he was announced out with a hamstring injury. We had no idea he had a hamstring injury. Nobody had a clue Cody Lindenberg had a hamstring injury. Well, that hamstring injury led to him being out 98% of the season. We already had issues in the back seven. Without Cody there, the Gophers had no chance. None. We were already as thin, way too thin to compete in a 12-game football season, and then suddenly we were without our best defensive player in the back seven. Is this going to happen? No. A lot of Gopher fans suffer. A lot of Gopher fans are like, did we just lose Darius Taylor for the whole year? And we don't even know that if he's really, really injured or not. Or did he just get hurt but not injured? So, if Darius Taylor is out for that game against North Carolina, if we hear about it, because we're not going to hear about it. We're not going to hear nothing about it. Until 90 minutes before kickoff or 2 hours before kickoff, when that report comes out. If Darius Taylor is on that injury report, if Darius Taylor, the beast, is on that injury report, I will, when we do that watch party, Thursday night, August 29th, Gophers versus the Tar Heels, holy smokes, I'm going to open up that program and I'm going to be fit to be tied. You think I'm sick now? I'm going to be so physically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually devastated if Darius Taylor is injured and can't play against the Tar Heels. I'm going to say that now on August 18th. We're 11 days away. I'm going to say it again before the game happens. But there is worried in Gopher country about injuries. Once again. Once again. Once again. Phone lines are open. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333. Give us a call. Chase that honey and lemon with a couple of shots of bourbon. I don't know, guys. I just hope that one of these days that I wake up. I mean, we've got Mountaineer fans. We've got Mountaineer fans who are going to put down a super chat for me to sing Country Roads if the Mountaineers defeat Penn State in an upset week 1. And they could do it. West Virginia could do it. Jaheim White, CJ Donaldson, Garrett Green. I've got to be able to sing. So I got to get this voice corrected. I got to get rid of this the symptoms of this virus. Whatever I got has got to magically go away. Which for the Gophers? No, we're not that smart. We don't do cloak and dagger stuff. No. It's I wish I could pretend that it's smoke and mirrors, but it's not. Darius Taylor reached for that back of that leg and they put ice on it. And that was it. And that's all the media got to see. And now we're not going to know. And there is a reason why Minnesota is, how do I put this? Loserville City and the fat guy from Minnesota is the mayor. We are not allowed to have good things here. We're not allowed to have it. Not in sports. We're not allowed to have it. So if we got a player who can play, he's going to get injured. Just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Stephen McNeely. Greg, hope you're better before the Minnesota-North Carolina game. You're going to need a full voice for that one. Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate you being a member. 9 months, holy smokes. Thank you so much for your generosity, man. I appreciate it, Stephen, for your kindness, for your friendship. You are hereby knighted cloak and dagger once again. Once again. Stormy Cyclone. Did anyone see the Florida State NIL shirts? They read ACC. I wonder if they'll show up in Ireland. I did not see that. I did not see that. I don't expect really any information. We're going to follow the court cases as they continue on. I know there's some court dates that are important in September, so we'll keep an eye out on it.
Call from
JD.
JD, Mr. Seminole is on the line. Florida State, Georgia Tech, Dublin, Ireland. Holy smokes, it's an ACC conference game. How you feeling? How are you feeling, sir?
I'm feeling pretty good, to be honest with you.
Good.
How are you feeling about the game? Have you already put in a score prediction?
Yeah, no, I already put in my thanks for asking, man. JD, thanks for asking. Greg the GOAT. I already did a selection on that game. I went over 56. The over under 56. If you see your screen right there, I took over 56. I did not touch that spread. I got a lot of respect for the Seminoles defense. Don't get me wrong. At the end of the year, the Seminoles defense is going to rank among the best, but I think Georgia Tech's offense is going to be an offense that is going to be clicking on all cylinders at the beginning of the year. Their returning offensive line coming back. Jamal Haynes is coming back. Haynes King is coming back. Offensive coordinator, the whole shebang. They know what they're doing. I think they're going to score some points. I just think the Seminoles are going to win by a couple touchdowns. But I got the over 56. I think that's the best play to make.
I got you. And you didn't have a score prediction, or is that coming later in the week?
Oh, I don't do score. I mean, over 56. So
I got you.
38-24, something like that.
Yeah, I had 39-17, or
Okay.
I even debated 39-20. There's going to be it's first game. You're going to have a bust on both sides, and then you'll have a turnover here or there. So that'll be scoring opportunities for both teams. And so that's let's just say that's 10 points for Georgia Tech right there. So I could see another 7 to 10 points, and then who knows? They may come out. Yeah, that's the one thing about first games is you have the advantage of some semblance of secrecy. You don't have a lot of film. You have some film. There's throughout the season, teams will hold back some things for rivals, or they'll hold back. So let's just say a team's not going to really have a difficult test till game 4. You're not going to show much in the first 3 games. Well, that's the same scenario you have for game 1. There's always just that little bit of a surprise, and so that'll factor in. So for you taking the over, I think it's smart. I do. I think it's smart. I
think Haynes King, as much as I like to watch him, as I think he's a very good quarterback, I think he's going to give up one to Florida State. It's going to be a pick 6, or it's going to be a terrible turnover deep in their own territory. I think at least there's going to be one part of that game with Florida State's defense feast on Haynes King. So that's another reason why I got the over on it. But go ahead, sir.
Oh, no, you're good. I think that's sensible. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to listen to some of the deep dives. If you want to get a better feel, I think the person that probably breaks it down the best is Jason Staples. He's Unconquered Podcast.
Okay.
He doesn't do all year round. He doesn't do a lot of podcasts, but he does coming out of spring. He'll do some, and then he's already done his preseason position breakdowns.
Okay.
And then he'll do season predictions and so on. So he does a really good job. And then also he'll do I'm you're going to keep up with the Gophers, but if it gets to be where you have a big game coming and you want to get a real lay of idea of how the prognosticators are viewing FSU's opponents, they do a really good breakdown, and Jason does an excellent job. So
Okay.
he'll give you post-game, pre-game, predictions, and everything else. He's just really sharp. He's been the most accurate since I started listening to him about 3 years ago. He's been the most accurate. And the good thing is my inclinations lined up with him. So I was real curious to see how all that played out. I think I nailed 2022. I had a really good feeling about 2023. I got a really good feeling about this year too. But so I don't know if I can brag and say I've got a good feel for the team, or I'm just a Homer fan and we got a great coach and it just kind of worked out that way. I don't know. But I'll claim it either way.
Go ahead and claim it, man. I wish I could claim something, but yeah. I've been Greg the Cooler last 2 years, but not this year, JD. Not this year. I turn it around.
Well, I'm thankful we're back to football again because I'm kind of a little burned out on realignment for a little bit. I feel like we're going to be fine.
I think we're going to be in a. I think we're going to. Well, in the ACC, I think we're going to. I think we're going to. There's going to be a time of where nothing really big is going to break. Now, the important stuff that's going on in the course, that's going to continue to go on, and we're going to cover it here at Peek Around the Corner. Of course, after the season, you got the February 1st date. We're going to cover. I do think, and it doesn't directly. It does relate to the ACC, but not directly. I do think we're going to get some news here in the next couple months in regards to decisions being made by Oregon State and Washington State. So that's going to be some big news. I think that's going to hit much sooner than people realize. Now, exactly where it's going, I don't know yet, because if I did know, I would be reporting it. But I think decision time is going to happen, not in, maybe not in September, but like October, November, December, somewhere around there, a decision's going to be, we're going to see something happening. So.
Well, I wish they could get the lion's share of and realignment's never like done. Yeah. In 10 years they're going to do something else, but I still consider the realignment that's happened in the last few years still a continuing phase of realignment. Now, if we don't see anything for 4 years, well, then that's a different round. But if something happens within the next year or two, I still consider it part of the same round.
Now,
but, I'm ready for it to.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to bring up the Regal Knoll. I had a few people send me stuff after you sent it me about him saying something about 2023, 2024. Florida State had an opportunity to go to a power conference, but they turned it down. I don't, I've had a few more people say, Greg, what is this about? And honestly, I've not heard of it. I don't know how that would even happen, but no one has ever said anything to me. So I just want to put that, before I forget, I wanted to put that out as well, because I haven't not been able to answer everybody as I've been sick, so I do apologize. I have not been able to, get back to everybody on their questions. But just to let everybody know, I've not heard, no one has mentioned that to me, and not sure how that would have worked. But I apologize for interrupting you, JD. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. And I can address that. I saw it earlier. And do you remember back, it was last fall, where you had said, you had come in and said there was some communication third party, or
yes,
there was some type of something going on where the SEC and FSU might be, communicating third party. And then you've made other references to things that, I think that was your FSU contact. It had said something into that effect that the SEC was in play. And I could be choosing the wrong words. And then there were other rumors, other times he talked to you that said maybe the Big Ten, or other rumors that there were third party talks with the Big Ten and so on. I'm going to suggest that there's a possibility the ACC has given Florida State a number, okay? And it's probably a really, really high number. And FSU doesn't want to pay it. But they've been tempted to pay it. And I'm going to suggest that there is always a possibility. Now, I know there's roadblocks for the SEC, and I think I have an idea, and I've been told which teams would not vote yes. And you've probably heard the same thing. Or let's just say the Big Ten doesn't have an interest in expanding right now, but there's a percentage share where they might say yes. So let's just say devil's advocate here, the ACC might say, all right, well, you write us a $400 million check. And then the Big Ten would say, oh, you want to come in at a 50% share? Or the ACC would say, or the SEC would say, oh, you want to come in at a 50 or 40% share for 8-9 years? Or in other words, there's always potential in these talks that there's a theoretical number thrown out there, or that if you want to bite on it, sure, we can make it happen. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's an offer on the table or it's something that FSU would be interested in doing at this time. You don't want to spend $300 million more than you need to. And when I'm saying $300 million, let's say they could get the exit cost down to $2 million, and then if they wait 2 years, they could get a share in the Power 2 of, let's say, 3/4 of a share instead of a half share. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I think there's definitely possibilities. They could have already been out, but they would have really taken a financial hit. And who knows? You know, because it didn't ever get, I don't know that it ever got much farther than that. So whenever there's talks between conferences and FSU or Clemson, I'm sure there's possible deals thrown out there and things to consider. And so if that's what's happened, Regal's not wrong, but it also may not be a deal that FSU could consider doing anyway. You know, and maybe some of the rumors going around earlier, and I'm just speculating here, was they were tempted to take a couple of those, or let's say take one of those potential offers, write the huge check, and take the reduced share till 2030 or 2032, whenever the whatever comes up. And they just decided, if we just hold on for a year or two, we could save $200 million. You know, so this is all speculation on my part.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Yeah. I'm saying how everything can be true at once. Everything that he's saying, everything that you're saying, everything that everyone else hears.
In some cases that's true. I don't believe any offers can even be made right now, because you don't do that until you go through, first party talks, and there's just no.
Sure.
So, so I would not say, but I'm not gonna. I'm just saying I haven't heard. I've never heard of that rumor before, that speculation before. So that's all something new, as far as I know. Maybe it's been out there, but.
Sure. Well, no, I have filled in a lot of gaps here, just pure speculation. It's kind of like somebody comes up to you and says, hey, they want to syndicate your show, blah, 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 blah. They know they could get you X, Y, and Z. They know they could get, they could work out all these financial details, but you turn them down. Well, there was never a formal offer in place, but they did tell you they know from conversation with others they can get you that deal. And so no offer was taken, no formal offer was given, no formal first-party talks have happened, nothing. It's just you had an opportunity, you decided not to take that opportunity. And, again, this is just me trying to fill in some of the gaps. I haven't heard exact figures. I haven't even heard if that was the case. It's just that goes. I gave his post some validity because there were other people, like I said, at least a month ago, that suggested that FSU had some opportunities, but they've passed because they believe there's better opportunities coming. And they never elaborated which conference, how much money, nothing. And they just, so we're just here to speculate.
Yeah.
So, and again, there's so many unknowns. I'm thankful for the break,
Yeah.
for a little while.
Yeah.
I haven't even popped on to War Chant in 3 days, and I'm enjoying the peace, to be honest with you.
Beautiful.
All right, man. I've taken
right.
up your time.
Appreciate it,
Have a
JD.
great
Go
night.
get him
Thank
in
you.
Dublin. Go get him in Dublin.
Hope so.
All right.
So.
All right, man.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So, some elbows are being thrown back and forth. Georgia Tech, Florida State, Dublin, Ireland. Who's going to be affected by the time zone? Almost never. How do I put this? Unfortunately, here at Peek Around the Corner, I unfortunately do not really get a whole lot of insight, cloak and dagger information on what's going on with these I do not use, as you can tell, it's been Greg the Cooler over the last 2 years against the spread. So obviously, I'm not receiving any inside information. If I am, it's all bad. There has been, once in a while, the exception to the rule. This is reminding me of the Nebraska. This has reminded me of the Nebraska Northwestern game in Ireland 2 years ago.
Call from
Steve.
Steve, can you hold on 1 second?
Sure.
I just want to finish this story here. That Northwestern Nebraska game, and if you go back and if you do a Twitter search on my account, I posted a few things up. I know I did on my Twitter account. But guys, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at the Vegas line going into that Nebraska Northwestern game, Nebraska was a huge favorite. And I don't remember the number. It was more than 10 points. It was Scott Frost last year. Again, everyone thought Nebraska was going to be this, they're going to finish 9-3, which they never did under Scott. They never had a winning record under Scott Frost. But again, it was one of these games where, they're so much more talented than Northwestern. And the line was double digit. And I don't remember what it was. But like 72 hours before kickoff, Northwestern is in Dublin, Ireland. Nebraska's in Dublin, Ireland. The coaching staffs are there. The media is there. That line, that Vegas line, took a big hit. It moved hugely in favor of Northwestern. And I really couldn't say, I knew the reasons why, but I could not put it out on Twitter. I did a little bit, but it had to do with the fact that, and I'm going to use the word allegedly. I'm going to put my fingers up, allegedly. The Nebraska coaching staff, let's just say they were treating that trip a little differently than the Northwestern coaching staff. Maybe not as professionally. Maybe they were Maybe had a few too many drinks. Maybe one of those nights they didn't know where one of their coaches were. I'm just putting that out there. Anyways, if you go watch that game, Northwestern beat Nebraska. And it was just it was like the final nail in the coffin on Scott Frost. That they did not show up. They didn't show up. Now, so I haven't heard any reports that Georgia Tech is, not minding their P's and Q's in Dublin, or Florida State's not minding their P's. There probably isn't going to be any reports. Both teams are probably being professional about it. Both coaching staffs are being probably professional about it. But keep an eye on that line just to see where it moves. Because Dublin, Ireland, the word got out 2 years ago. We'll see if there's any big line movement this year. Go ahead, Bearcat Steve. The floor is yours.
Glad to hear you're on the mend, Greg.
I don't know if I'm on the mend. I mean, I'm better. I'm definitely better, but man, I'm not good. I tell you that.
Well, take it day by day, get some rest, and I guarantee you, the older you get, you just don't come back as quick sometimes as you think you should. So, anyhow,
appreciate it, man.
Yep, no problem. I'm sorry. I thought my doorbell was ringing, but apparently it wasn't. I don't know who would be here this time of night, but you were talking about quarterbacks earlier. Decisions on coaches making quarterbacks. I thought Finn would go to Baylor and be the guy, but from what sounds like, they're not going to make a decision until tomorrow. Yeah, and I can't think of the other guy's name that Finn's competing with, but I thought, he went to Baylor and he was going to at least play 1 year.
Finn would have that job wrapped up.
Yeah, me too. But Aranda was talking, and I heard him talking, and he said they may make a decision tomorrow. So see how that plays out.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it just kind of tells you the transfer portal sometimes is not a sure thing, Yep. It's just not. So, I was listening to Satterfield in Cincinnati, and I thought you and I were both going to take an L on Sorsby the way he was talking there a week and a half ago.
Really?
Yeah. The young man from Philadelphia, who's a true freshman, just came into camp and tore it up at quarterback. I can't think of his name right now, but
that would be good news for Cincinnati.
That'd be good. Be good news. Yeah. Satterfield better get some good news, because he doesn't go 6-6 and get to a bowl game. They gave him his 1 year to do whatever he had to do to get this thing back on track. But, a little history, Greg. Cincinnati fans aren't used to this. D'Antonio came in and started recruiting players for a couple of years that were some of the best players, the Kelsey brothers, people like that, some of the best players Cincinnati have had. He leaves for Michigan State. Everybody says, we'll give Kelly give him his year to get everything back in order. Well, he didn't need it because D'Antonio had that roster pretty full. And then Butch Jones follows Kelly. Everybody says, well, give Butch his year, get things back in order. Butch did a pretty good job. Butch leaves for Tennessee, which he probably regrets that day for the rest of his life. But Tuberville comes in, and, Tuberville just lived off of Butch's teams for 2 years, and then they couldn't find Tuberville. Well, they could find him. He was on the golf course most of the time. But then Fickle comes in. He gets his 1 year to get things straight, and we know what he did. And so now Satterfield had his 1 year, and Cincinnati fans won't put up with another 3-win season.
Yeah.
So hopefully, 30 new players. I mean, 30 guys from the transfer portal came in.
It's a lot. That's a lot.
That's
It's a
a
big
lot.
transition.
It's huge. It's huge. And, you know, I I was feeling okay till Corleone, you know, had the respiratory problems, and he's practicing, but he's pretty much stayed out of contact. And then they had two real good transfer defensive linemen that were going to play. I mean, they flat out were going to play, and they can play, and they're both out for the year because of injuries in training camp. So, yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out this year.
Yeah. Hold on one second, sir. I just want to bring up Cincinnati Bearcats.
Their schedule's not terribly. It could be a lot tougher. Let's just say that. You know, it's not a.
I already screwed up. Jeez. Hold on, sir. I don't know what's wrong with me, other than I'm sick. Hold on. That's not what I want. That's not what I want. Townsend Tigers, August 31st. I'll put it up on the screen. Pitt Panthers, that's a big one, man. Right out there.
They went out. They went out and beat them at Pittsburgh last year.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
hopefully they can beat them in Cincinnati this year.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And
I'm not a believer in that quarterback at Pittsburgh. Sorry to say.
No.
At Miami, that's going to be a tough game.
Well, it was last year because they lost for the first time in I don't know how many years.
Yeah.
You know, I think it was the first time they lost since Ben Roethlisberger left Miami.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
You know,
I think the people at Miami, Ohio are feeling good about their team this year.
Oh, they're going to be good. And a little tidbit of information, this is like the 128th time they played, and it's tied at 69-69.
Wow.
And this is the last year they're going to play. This is it.
Wow.
So there's a rivalry because of realignment that 130 years old it goes. It's gone after this year. So
wow.
Yeah, they'll have a tough. That'll be tough enough for them. That game. I mean, every game will be a challenge. Don't get me wrong. Other than probably Towson, every game will be, you know. But I feel good about the offensive line and Kiner and Pryor, the running backs, the two running backs. So, you know, maybe they can score enough points. But going to be interesting to see for sure.
Yeah,
I think Satterfield knows it.
The first part of your schedule is doable. You can get a nice running start.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I thought that last year too. You know.
November is going to be a scrap. West Virginia, you got them at home, but then you go to Iowa State and Kansas State back-to-back weeks.
Yep. So it's going to be Satterfield better try to eke out 6 wins to get to a bowl game, because it's not going to bode well for him and the Cincinnati fans. And you know, the new athletic complex that they're building is going to be done by next fall. You know, and people will bring that up. Well, you know, he's not winning very many football games, and we built this thing for him. And, you know, is he going to, you know, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Other than that, I'm taking the under in the Florida State Georgia Tech game.
Woo! You're going under. I'm going over.
Yep, I heard you say over there last week or whatever, and then again tonight. I just like the, I don't know, the first game, you may see a little bit of offensive penalties, maybe a turnover or two. But I think Florida State could take control of the game. But then, being a first game in Norvell in the middle of the third quarter sees enough of his number ones, and I don't know if it'll get to that over. I don't know if Georgia Tech can score 10 or 12 points. So,
we'll see. Georgia Tech's offense was real good last year.
Yeah, they
got
lost to
everybody
Bowling
coming
Green.
back.
They lost to Bowling Green in Bobby Dodd Stadium, for goodness sake.
Yep.
You don't lose to a MAC. I live in MAC country, but, if you're Georgia Tech and somebody's coming down to your place and play from the MAC, you don't lose to them. You shouldn't. So I got zero confidence in Georgia Tech. I know it's a year later. I know it's probably a whole different team, but not sure they can play with Florida State.
Yeah, if you look at Georgia Tech's numbers from last year, and of course it's last year, right? But they lost to Louisville 39-34.
Yeah.
They lost to Ole Miss 48-23.
Yeah.
A lot of these games go over. Bowling Green 38-27. They lost.
Yep.
Even the Boston College put up 38 against Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
North Carolina, Georgia Tech 46, North Carolina 42. So all these games are going in the 60s, almost all of them. Georgia Tech was 31-23. I just, Haynes King's coming back. Jamal Haynes is coming back.
Yep, they're good. They're good.
O-line. So I got over 56, and Greg the Gold, I cannot afford to lose that first game.
You'll bounce back this year. I got confidence you're going to bounce back.
Sure I will.
We'll see.
I can't wait to that day when I bounce back.
Yeah,
it hasn't happened yet, but
we may be witness to it.
Yeah.
We may be. So anyhow, take care of yourself. Good talking to you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Yep. Bye.
All right. Great call by Steve Bearcat. He's laying it out there, man. Cincinnati. Early on, they play. They play Houston early on. I think that's their second conference game. I think that game's at home, so they can. Pittsburgh, Houston. I think their first road game in the Big 12 against the Texas Tech Red Raiders. They've got a chance to get going. And then we'll see what happens. But I would be shocked. If Brendan Sorsby is not the starter at Cincinnati game 1. Man. I would be absolutely, but I've already been shocked. I was already shocked tonight with Malachi Nelson not winning the starting quarterback job at Boise State. That was announced tonight. So you never know, man. You got to bring it. You've got to bring it. You're not just going to get the starting job handed to you just because you're a transfer quarterback, just because they're spending NIL money on you. We just learned that at Boise State. So we'll find out. We're going to shut it down. We've been on the air for an hour and a half, a little bit longer than I was expected to tonight. Still trying to recover from this terrible cold or virus or whatever I got. Getting better, a little bit better every day. Hopefully by the middle of this week, we'll be raring to go. I want to do these episodes. I want to drop some early Pete Cloak and Dagger episodes, but it's been rough. Trying to save the voice to make sure that it's ready to go for Saturday, 11 o'clock Central, 12 o'clock, noon o'clock Eastern, Florida State, Georgia Tech. watch party. Hopefully you join us. Let's have some fun. We're going to have a lot of fun this year. This is going to be the most dramatic field college football season ever. There's going to be more broken hearts scattered across the college football landscape, including in the PATC chat room, including over the PATC community that all lives in Heisman City, that lives on the corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. A lot of you are expecting your team to at least have a chance to compete to get to the college football playoffs. And a lot of you are going to have broken hearts. And I am here to watch it all play out. We're going to celebrate together, cry together. Holy smokes. 2024 is going to be electrifying. If you haven't done so yet, please hit the subscribe button. Open up your notifications. Turn them on. We can come on live at any time. Please smash the like button if you've enjoyed our content tonight. Just a little live show to get us ready for the week. We are week 0. It has started. The college football season is here. It is finally here in the studios at PATC and across the fruited plains of this country. Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. We're going to see you tomorrow, God willing. So buckle up, brace for impact. Week 0 has arrived. Until next time, from all of us at PATC to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.